Yes, you will definitely need an attorney to help you with your business acquisition. But the when, the where, the what, and the how much is the subject of this video. Stay tuned. Let's get to it. Everybody, welcome to my channel. I am your host, Leo Landaverde, business broker and commercial lender, helping you buy and scale a profitable business. If you are a small business owner looking to increase your wealth or diversify your wealth by purchasing a profitable business, or a W-2 employee or corporate executive sick and tired of the rat race and wanting to exit by buying a profitable business, you are in the right place. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the bell and you'll be notified every Thursday when new videos come out. Here we go, guys. Let's start with the when, which is number one. When should you bring an attorney to start working with you? Now, my advice would be as soon as feasible, as soon as possible. Now, there are different stages in your business acquisition journey where you're definitely going to need an attorney. You're definitely going to need an attorney during the due diligence phase as you're crafting and drafting your asset purchase agreement and a bunch of other documents, or you may need it on the LOA, at the letter of intent phase, if it is a very structured, complex situation. For instance, there are LOIs that are for purchases of $2 to $4 million businesses. And there are provisions that are built in the LOIs beyond the template that are specific to the state that you live in, that you may want to have the blessing of an attorney, because I assure you that the seller will have their own attorney review the provisions that you set in the LOI. Even though the letter of intent is non-binding, there are clauses and there are provisions within the LOI that will survive. So when to bring it'll be up to you depending on your budget. So I would say if you can actually budget for somebody to actually take the template that I usually have my students go through and just add a couple of things, the cost is minimal, but it'll be great investment on your part to make sure that you are protected even at the letter of intent stage and definitely moving forward. So for those of you who have bought other businesses, are more sophisticated, and you're okay with navigating the LOI phase without an attorney, fine, do so. But if you are in business, you have in business, and you know how these things work, things will get complicated, and it'll take you a while to find an attorney. So you need to, even if you don't use an attorney at the LOI phase, it behooves you to start looking for one now. So, which leads me to my next point. It's where do you find an attorney? As with anything, referrals from a trusted source are best. Not all attorneys are created equal, and not all attorneys have the mergers and acquisitions expertise that is required. One thing you're going to learn about the legal field is that there is no such thing as general practitioners. Every attorney that I work with and I know of have different subject matter expertise. There are employment or labor law attorneys, there are litigation attorneys, there are state attorneys, trust attorneys, divorce attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys. You need to find an attorney that is quite versed in the area of mergers and acquisitions, ideally having been on both sides of the aisle representing sellers and representing buyers. Because if they represent both, they understand what the opposite side is going to bring in. And remember, everything is negotiable. And for you to win something, you must lose something somewhere else. And it is your attorney's job to be able to figure that out. So I always suggest that you start with your close circle of friends and centers of influence. Who are the people that you go to for advice? I would start with your CPA or your tax preparer, your enrolled agent. They don't have to be a CPA, but whoever prepares your taxes must know other people, especially if they work in their pool of clients. They have business owners who actually work with attorneys. That's one thing that I would suggest, is start with your very own network, put your feelers out. Depending whether you're self-employed or you work for another company, you may have reservations about putting something in social media, but if you can actually message people directly on LinkedIn, I would strongly suggest you do that. If you're a business owner and you're part of the Chamber of Commerce and you know other business owners, I would suggest that you contact them. Okay, so put your feelers out, and it's going to take you a little bit of time to find one. You're not gonna find one overnight, and you're gonna have to interview and people. Don't go with the first person that you meet. You might wanna have Zoom meetings depending on the distance, or you have coffee with them, or you go to their office. Whatever you do, meet 3 of them and choose one, because inevitably something will happen. They may be great at the subject matter experts in M&A, but they may not get along with you. You may have a conflict of personalities, and that's not gonna work. And you need to really be in sync with your attorney. So we have talked about when and where, and now we're gonna talk about the what. What are you gonna have them do? Now, every attorney is gonna want to earn your business. They're gonna want to get as much of you as they can, because that's what they do. They're gonna bill you by the hour. The default state of an attorney is an hourly rate. That hourly rate is gonna decrease or increase depending on what metropolitan area you are. So if you're in the Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Miami, chances are that the hourly rates will be much higher than if you're in the rural communities or in smaller cities. So they have to be contained within the state. If you're buying a business in California, you need a California licensed attorney. If you're buying a business in Nevada, you need a Nevada licensed attorney, because there are specific contract provisions that are tied to the state that you're buying a business in. It doesn't matter where you're coming from, it's where you're buying the business in. So let me give you a list of some of the actual forms and contracts that you absolutely need to work with an attorney with. For instance, first and foremost, the drafting and negotiating of the asset purchase agreement, also known as the APA. The negotiation or reviewing of the non-disclosure agreements, if need be. The drafting and negotiation of the seller's consulting agreement if the seller is going to stay on for a period of time post the closing of the business. If you want the seller to stay on beyond the closing of escrow, beyond the customary 30 days and 30 hours a week, you're going to need an employment agreement. Or a consulting agreement for them to stay on, with definitely exit strategy. It's going to sunset at this and this date. If there is a lease involved, and I guarantee you there will be a lease involved, you're going to need your attorney to review and negotiate the seller's commercial lease, because if you're getting an SBA loan, you're going to need a lease to run parallel to the length of the loan. In this case, a 7A loan will run for 10 years. Are you stuck and trying to figure out how to buy a business? Figure out the best price to pay, ideal cash flow, post-debt service cash flow, debt service coverage ratio, whether your management experience will be enough, and how to actually get an SBA loan approved? I love to know where you are in your journey and see if it makes sense for us to work together. Reach out to me. Let's connect. You can send me an email. My email address will be in the description section of this video, or you can just drop me a comment below and let's begin a chat. Thank you so much, and look forward to getting to know you. You will need to review contracts. If there is a lengthy, if the seller has contracts with their customers, his or her customers, and those contracts are going to be to review with your attorney, especially if they're multi-year contracts and you're coming on year 1 or 2 of a 5-year agreement, you need to know exactly how much of that dependable revenue is contractually obligated to continue. And whether those contracts will be assigned to you. Because if you're not buying the stock and you're buying the assets, those contracts may be tied to the legal entity, but then being able to be transferred to you. So that's very important things that you need to consult your attorney for. Now, having said that, I always recommend my buyers to go with an asset purchase agreement. However, there are instances where that may be impossible. If you have a corporation has contracts with the government, or you're a federal contractor, or you do the type of work that is, you have multi-year agreements tied to the corporation with licenses, those are going to be impossible to pull away from the corporation. Might as well buy the stock of the company. With this buying the stock of the company, there comes the inherent risk of the liabilities. So some of the things that I'm seeing in a lot of the contracts, the buyers are very sophisticated nowadays, and they want to have a holdback provision on escrow, anywhere from 10 to 15% of the purchase price in case of something happens, even if you're buying the asset. That's the state where things are today. You're also going to need to evaluate the seller's business and legal compliance. Is the seller up to snuff with all of the legal compliance state-wise, federal-wise. Does the seller have any potential pending litigation that your attorney may be able to uncover? You have to gonna be reviewing the negotiating the escrow agreements. If you're in an attorney state, they're definitely going to be escrow. If you're in an escrow state, there's going to be escrow. No matter where you are, there's going to be a third party who's going to handle the contracts for both sides, the clearinghouse for all signatures, and the clearinghouse for all monies. The buyer and the seller do not hold all the money. All of the money goes into escrow. All of the contracts fully executed go into escrow. Escrow is the one that divvies up everything. Your attorney needs to be able to review those, because once you sign it, it's inked and it's done. Drafting, any employment agreements for employees who are retaining key employees that are outside of the seller who may need to be retained with a 2 to 3 year agreement. Those agreements need to be drafted by your attorney. And conducting of the closing of escrow, including the escrow closing. So, all right, so that is the what. And the list is more exhausting. If you actually get my checklist, you're going to see that there is a list of other documents that your attorney is going to have to oversee. Now, you're probably wondering, oh my gosh, this is going to break me. It's going to kill me. How much money do I going to need? Which is what we left, how much for last. My advice, pay your attorney where your attorney is worth. Having said that, negotiate a flat fee if you can. That may or may not work. It depends on the firm. The larger the law firm, the less likely you are to be able to get away with a flat fee agreement. But a flat fee agreement has both good and bad. The challenges of a flat fee agreement is that in order for you to be able to maximize or maximize your savings or minimize the cost, is if you know when you're getting to this LOI that you have a very good chance of taking this deal all the way to the escrow closing, which means that you're gonna pass the successfully pass the LOI letter of intent stage with fully executed, signed both ways. You get into due diligence. If you have an LOI, you're not gonna have escrow right away, but you're gonna be in due diligence. You're assuming that you're going to make it through the LOI stage, due diligence stage, the financing stage, and the escrow stage, and the negotiation stage, and the closing stage. All of those stages, anything can happen, and the deal is off. So, and sometimes if you're not really sure, if there's a lot of negotiations up front, and this is just very, very convoluted, a flat fee agreement may not be good for you, because you may realize that you're not going to be able to make it out of the first stage. You may not be able to make it past the LOI stage. So in everything, use your best judgment. So a good attorney should be able to tell you, you know what, a deal this size, you're buying a $2 million company, and there's no inventory, there is no cost of goods sold, a straight up service delivery on a company that's been around for 20 years. It's very easy. There's just not a lot of working capital calculations. Due diligence is going to be a breeze. It should probably cost you $5,000, $6,000. If that is the case, you need to check, the proof and the attorney, the social proof from the attorney, to make sure that they actually have that kind of track record. And if that is the case, you may be better off with going with a flat fee. So it goes both ways, right? Attorneys need to make sure that they're paid what they're worth, and you need to make sure that you save on costs. And those are mutually exclusive, right? So you need to be able to, that's what it takes time. So back to what I said, you need to start looking for, if you're thinking about buying a business this year, you need to have somebody on your team. You're going to have your attorney who is part of your deal team right away. And they may or may not be on retainer yet. And a lot of attorneys are actually going to need a retainer. So ideally, you have your CPA, you have your attorney, you have your M&A advisor. If you're working with a broker, you have your broker, you have your wealth planner. Those are the key people that you're going to need to help this deal, your business acquisition, move forward. So there you go. There you have the when, the where, the what, and the how much. Thank you so much for watching this video. For a limited time, I'm giving away my cash flow calculator and my due diligence buyer's checklist. These two documents are critical in the process of buying a business for different reasons. So it is my gift to you for subscribing to my channel to have them. It'll make your life so much easier when buying a business. Again, all you have to do is follow the links below, and in the pinned comment below, you can download them and yours to keep and start playing with them. And reach out to me if you have any questions. Good luck.